thoughts and opinions on each rumour. Now, of course, I should stress this is, of course, as of recording, the biggest rumour. There may be a bigger rumour that pops up by the time you see this. Some of these deals might have already happened. Some of them might have fallen through. Either way, I'm going to give my thoughts on every single one and I'm going to put them into the tiers. Now, before I get into this, I just want to say thank you very much to all of you watching for your support recently, and very, very quickly, I just want to say we are on the road to 3,000 subscribers. Hopefully, we're trying to hit it before the start of the Premier League season, so if you could press subscribe, that would honestly make me very, very happy, and you'll be doing one act of kindness, I guess. Anyways, these are the tiers today. So we have Get It Done, which is a deal, just get the deal done. It makes perfect sense, just get that deal done because it's a fantastic move. We have a good signing, maybe not rush into it, but I think it's a good signing if it happens. Average, meh, bit skeptical on them, and then stay away. Do not get this deal happening. I don't like this deal, and do not make it happen. So, I've got every club's rumour. Let's begin. Of course, if you think maybe I should have chosen somebody else instead, then let me know. But I think I've got pretty much everyone's decent rumours. So we start with Everton. So Everton don't really have too many massive rumours right now, but one of the big ones is Weston McKennie. Weston McKennie has been linked loosely to Everton. And now McKennie, he was on the verge of joining Aston Villa, I believe, in that sort of swap deal with Douglas Luiz, but he was suddenly ruled out of the negotiations. Now Weston McKennie is a player who is a bit of a weird one because he, at one point, at Juve, he looked really, really good. Then goes on loan to Leeds, doesn't really do too well. I mean, goes back to Juve, again, pretty mid. Like, the thing with McKennie is, I think he's just a very bang average player. Like, he's a bang average Premier League player who I don't really think is ever going to become like a fantastic guy. So I could never ever put him in Get It Done, because I don't think for like an Everton he's ever going to be like incredible, But what I will say is he's gonna be a solid player for them if that was to happen. Now reportedly his wages are a bit of an issue because I'm assuming Juve's on some high wages. That is a bit of an issue. I mean, Everton do need some players in the midfield though. Obviously with Onana going, but if he's going to be the Onana replacement, I don't know about that. I would have thought I would have got someone else instead. I'm guessing he's not just the Onana replacement, but if he is, I don't know. I'm going to say average. I think he's bang average. As I said, he's a solid Premier League player. He'll probably come in on the dive, do pretty decent, but I highly doubt if he came in he's ever going to become like an incredible player and everyone waxing lyrical about him. So it's a pretty average signing for me. Okay, next up we have Emil Smith Rowe to Fulham. Now this is a deal which looks almost certain to happen. Fulham have put in around like a 35 million bid or so to Arsenal, and it looks like he is going to join Fulham. Now this is an interesting one. But first I'll say very, very good for Emil Smith Rowe to get out of Arsenal and go to another Prem club and get some regular minutes. Definitely needed it. And for Fulham, I think this is a really ambitious move actually from them. Some of their signings recently have been pretty poor. Like, they've got a old squad and a lot of their players have been pretty mid. This is actually a signing where you say, okay, Fulham have actually signed somebody here who could potentially, I said McKennie is never going to become like a fantastic player or anything. Fulham are signing a player here who, if he bangs, people will be saying, oh, okay, maybe Arsenal shouldn't have sold him. Big Big Six clubs will be looking at signing him if he does well at Fulham. So there's a lot of potential with this. We all know Smith Rowe's qualities. You know, he hasn't played much at Arsenal, but we all know that he's a really, really talented player. I think he'll play most games for Fulham. I could see him slotting him into the team fairly nice. Marco Silva, good coach as well. I mean, I'm not sure they're like the most attacking team, so maybe it's not going to work out that well. The fee is, to be honest, that's a little bit pricey for Fulham in my opinion, like 35 mil for somebody who's not really playing too much. Obviously, I know Arsenal want a high fee, he's still young as well. The fee is probably what drags it down from get it done, but I'll say that's a good signing. That's a good signing because they have someone there who has a lot of quality, and if they can, you know, get him to fit into that Fulham team right, then suddenly they've got an absolutely fantastic player on their hands. And yeah, personally, I'm really excited to see Emile Smith Rowe playing some regular minutes in the Premier League because, yeah, he is definitely a talented player, and we'll see what he can do at Fulham. But I think it definitely is a bit of a statement of intent to buy Fulham, using that Joao money very, very well. Next up, we have Aston Villa, who have been linked with Joao Felix from Atletico Madrid, which is a very, very interesting one. I mean, a couple years ago, if I had said that, oh my god, you'll be like, what? Joao Felix to Aston Villa? When he was joining Atletico Madrid for like 100 million. I'm pretty sure, Villa were in the Championship at that point. So, yeah, pretty mad how things work out. But nowadays, Felix to Villa, this is interesting. Now, I think it all depends on the structure of the deal. I'm assuming it would be a loan with an option to buy. I highly, highly doubt Villa would purchase Felix because Atletico would probably want a decent fee considering how much they paid for him. And if they do that, you know, Villa, if they buy him up front for like anything more than like 40 million, then I'm like, okay, yeah, that's not a good move because Felix, he's a very, very good player, but it's a big risk. It's a big risk signing him. He was okay at Chelsea on loan, but not amazing. I'll tell you, as a Chelsea fan, I mean, we were struggling that year, but he was very frustrating to watch at points. I've always found with Felix, I'm not sure what his best position really is, to be honest. He's kind of like giving me those Kai Havertz vibes, where he kind of needs like a very specific role and system to thrive. However, Unai Emery, good coach, potentially could get something out of him. Reminds me kind of similar to the Zaniolo deal. He will be on very, very high wages though, even if they get him on a loan. So it's going to be a very expensive loan. However, he does have that bit of X factor. I think potentially could add some quality, and I think it's one of those where the upside is just so huge. If he does bang, you've got a world-class player on your hands, and if you can get him on a loan, even if it is an expensive loan, doesn't work out, that's fine. Okay, look, we take the hit and send him back to Atletico. I think that's perfectly fine. I'm not gonna say get it done simply because, as I said, it is a bit risky because he hasn't really worked out with his last few clubs, and the loan fee could be very, very expensive. But I think if they get it, then it's a good signing with some really, really big potential. And personally, I would love to see Joao Felix back to his best because he is a really good player. Okay, next up we have Brereton Diaz. Now, Brereton Diaz has been linked to Southampton recently. So Brereton Diaz, of course, was on loan in the second half of the season to Sheffield United last year from Villarreal. He's back at Villarreal, but a lot of Premier League clubs are interested, Southampton being the main one. And for me, get it done. Get it done. I absolutely love this signing. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant signing. We saw in the second half of the season, Brereton, Diaz, when he came in at Sheffield. Obviously, Sheffield were absolutely horrific, but Brereton Diaz was really, really good. He was one of their only good players, and actually Sheffield played much better when Brereton was in the team. When he joined, played up top with Ollie McKennie, and those two were actually a menace. Very good physically, grabbed some goals, so he's got some experience now in the Prem, which is going to be vital to Southampton coming up. They've lost Jay Adams, so they're going to need a replacement for him, and I think Brereton can definitely be that. As I said, goal experience in the Premier League, shows some promise at Sheffield. I think if they kill him, he would do really well, and also it's one of those where, let's say he joins maybe Southampton, things don't go well, they get relegated. He's actually a proven bagsman in the Championship with Blackburn before, so they'll know they have a really good striker on their hands at the Championship if things go really wrong, and somebody who can contribute in the Prem. So for me it makes perfect sense. Get the deal done. Don't imagine it'll cost too much, probably like max 15 million I reckon, so yeah, get that done. Next up we have Melo, who has now, admittedly so, this link is quite loose, but he's been linked to Wolves. I couldn't really find too much on Wolves right now, but Melo is somebody who has loosely been linked to Wolves, and yeah, it's gotta be stay away. He's gotta be stay away. I mean, Melo, you remember from his time at Liverpool, or maybe you don't, because how little he got on the pitch. I think he played like 15 minutes at Liverpool. Yeah, he's just been absolutely ravaged with injuries his entire career. I will say last season he did manage to get over a lot of those fitness issues and had a promising year on loan at Fiorentina. He's back at Juve now, looking for a move away, but I wouldn't go anywhere near him, to be honest. Just such a risk with that fitness and injury record. You know, he's a good player, but as I said, just a big risk injury-wise. Will probably be on some decent wages as well. There's just no need to go and do that. I also don't even think he suits Wolves' style of play, to be honest, so I don't think this will happen, and if I was in charge of Wolves, there's no way I'm signing him. Next up we have Jhon Duran to West Ham. So West Ham have put in a couple bids for Jhon Duran. He seems their number one choice for the striker. Apparently they're putting a bid around like 32 mil, plus some youth guy. That was turned down by Villa. They want around £40 million for him. Now, I don't know what it is, but what is this obsession with Jhon Duran? Am I missing something? Like, Chelsea, we were absolutely chasing him. We were chasing him last January. We're chasing him early in the summer. Deal couldn't get done. Now West Ham are coming in for him. I'm sorry, Jhon Duran barely played last season. Like, he had a couple moments which looked good, but he barely even played last year, so why are teams like desperate for him? And like Villa seem very open to selling him, so if he was that good, surely they would want to keep him, right? Now I could be wrong here, but I just think, if they're gonna pay 40 million for Jhon Duran, I don't know about that. I think that's quite a big fee for somebody who has not really played too many minutes in the Prem. You don't really know what you're gonna get from him. You know, he has some good raw attributes, but yeah, I think 40 million for somebody who has barely played in the Prem that much. I think for 40 mil you could definitely get a much better striker, a much proven striker at least. Maybe Duran. Duran has potential, but you can definitely, for that kind of fee, get somebody who has actually proven themselves in the top league. So I would stay away. I would stay away if I was West Ham. As I said, Duran might be a good player. He definitely has potential, but for that kind of fee that Villa are asking for, you can definitely get Bella. And I would not be this is one which probably will happen. And I'm just going to say good signing. Good signing. Yeah, United need a DM. They definitely need a DM. That is one of their priorities this summer. Ugarte is a DM. PSG signed him last summer from Sporting. Many clubs were interested in him. He came in, did okay, but then towards the back of the season, Enrique, didn't really fancy him, tried something different, and Ugarte barely played. Now, that does give me a little bit of concerns. A little bit of concern that, maybe it was just because Enrique didn't really fit the system. In the United system, he will fit it, but the fact that PSG and Enrique have just said, you know what, just get rid of him. You can have him if you want him. We don't really care. And, we sort of discarded him towards the back end of the season. That's a little concerning. But I don't think there's too many, very, very good DM options out there. He's fairly young as well. Definitely available, as it looks like they're signing Joao Neves. Depending on the fee, I think if you're paying anything more than 45 mil, that's very, very bad. That's very, very bad deal. Because as I said, there's somebody who isn't really playing at PSG. That 40 mil is probably excessive, but so it really comes down to that. But in general, I think it is a good signing. I need a DM. He definitely has potential. Has shown that he has some good ability, but definitely not get it done because, as I said, I do have concerns about how PSG are just so willing to let him go. But it's a good signing if it gets done. Okay, next up we have Bournemouth, who this is one which is all but confirmed really, is Huijsen, don't know how you say it, to Bournemouth. So he's a centre-back from Juventus, joining for around £15 million, I believe. They've agreed to fee and looks like he is set to join. So he's 19 years old. He was on loan at Roma for the second half of last season. I don't really know too much about him, can't say I've watched a lot of him, but 19 years old, playing for Juve. We've seen actually a lot of the Juve academy players been really good recently. The likes of Sule, Fagioli, Merletti. So potentially Huijsen could be one of those, and also spending further half season on loan at Roma is pretty good as well. You don't really see going on loan to a Roma suggests you're a good player, and he's 19 as well. There are actually some really big clubs interested in him. Apparently Liverpool also were sort of loosely interested, so I like this deal. I'm not going to say get it done just because, as I said, I don't know too much about the player, but at 19 years old, they might have stumbled across a major gem here. And it's a fee where can't really go too wrong with it. If he doesn't work out, you could probably sell him for around 10 million and make a little bit of a loss. He'll be perfectly fine. So I like it a lot. Okay, now we have Liverpool. And their biggest rumour, they don't really have too many rumours. They haven't really been linked to anybody. But one of the bigger rumours has been Takefusa Kubo. So Kubo is playing for Real Sociedad, and he has been loosely linked to Liverpool. Now, I'm gonna say I don't know about this deal, to be honest. I'm not sure if Liverpool desperately need him. He plays on the right, kind of 10 role as well. Obviously, Salah's on the right. I guess they need someone in the long term to be the heir to Salah. Maybe they're like, okay, let's get him in now. Salah's probably going to leave next year. Bring in Kubo now, give him a year to acclimatise, then come in. Cool, but I feel like that shouldn't really be the priority for Liverpool right now. That's number 10 role as well. You got Szoboszlai there, you spend a lot of money on. They need other work, in my opinion, in that actual starting 11, like the midfield, like the DM role needs addressing. So I'm a little bit confused by like this one, and it's a big fee as well. It's around like 50 to 65 mil that's going to be required. That's a lot of money for somebody who's maybe not even going to start. Yeah, I don't know. He's a really good player. He is a really good player. And if they get it done, obviously, you know, you're signing a good player, cool. But as I said, the fee is a bit excessive for somebody who hasn't, you know, maybe isn't going to start if you sign him. So I'm going to put him in there. I think he's a really good player, but I just have concerns about spending that much on somebody who maybe isn't going to start, and I think you have other areas you need to address before signing Kubo. Right, next up we have Manchester City. Now, Man City was really hard. There wasn't really too many rumours on players joining them. One rumour, which they did have, which was more stronger after the Euros, has kind of died down a bit now, is Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo from Leipzig, of course, had that incredible Euros with Spain. Now, he had his release clause of around 60 million, I believe, but that has expired now, so rumours have sort of died down, but Leipzig are still open to selling him. If I'm Man City, I think this is very dependent on Kevin De Bruyne and also Bernardo Silva. Obviously, those two have been linked with moves away. If those two leave, they definitely need to sign someone like Dani Olmo to replace them. But if they stay, then maybe not. Although I guess they are going to need someone in the long term. I would say it's a good signing. If it was to happen, I thought, you know, Dani Olmo at the Euros was absolutely incredible. He's a really, really good player. His injury record is a bit concerning, though. However, as I said, a really talented player. He is definitely a Pep player. I could see him fitting in that system very well. Maybe starting on the left, and then coming in to the number 10 role, or just playing in the midfield. Like, he would just be absolutely superb in that Pep system. Played with Rodri before as well in the midfield. He would be great. It would be great. But I'm not going to say get it done just because the fee would be quite high, and also if they do keep De Bruyne and Bernardo, they probably don't need to sign him right now. So if that happens, good signing. Okay, next up we have Miguel Antonio, who, I mean, rather surprisingly has been linked to Nottingham Forest. There's been a bit of a loose link, but it has been a link. I think he's a free agent now, if I'm correct, actually. I think he's left West Ham on a free agent. But he has been linked to a return to Forest. He actually did play for Forest before. And West Ham, did they sign him from Forest? I'm not quite sure. Can't quite remember. But Miguel Antonio, this is definitely a stay away. Definitely a stay away. Like, to be honest, I could see him fit in the Nuno system quite well. He does seem like a Nottingham Forest type of Nuno player. But he's 34 now. He's basically, for the last 2 seasons, barely scored any goals. He's a useful guy, good hold-up play, but he relies very much on his physicality and physical attributes. He is getting old now as well. They don't even need him, right? They have Chris Wood, they have Taiwo Awoniyi there already. Why do they need Antonio? I don't know. They just love stockpiling players. I don't think he's necessary, and I don't think at his age they should be trying to buy him, so stay away. Alright, next up we have Philip Jorgensen. Philip Jorgensen looks like he might be joining Chelsea. So Chelsea are pulling a bid, I think, of like 15 or 20 million, something like that. They've agreed personal terms with him, so it looks like this deal is definitely progressing. He is a goalkeeper for Villarreal. And for me, I mean, I don't really see the logic in it. I really don't. Because, look, we have Petrovic and Sanchez. Now, I don't like Robert Sanchez. I don't want him to be our number 1, but it's been pretty clear from the club and Maresca that Robert Sanchez will be number 1 next season. He will be, because of his ball playing ability. signed this guy, then we're gonna basically sell Petrovic, and it's like, what's the point in that? Just keep Petrovic as the number 2. He's perfectly fine. He showed last season he's a very solid keeper. Why are you signing this guy? And if this guy is coming in to be starting goalkeeper, then why have you come out and said, oh no, Robert Sanchez is number 1? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. You know, this keeper could be good. I'm not gonna act like I've ever seen this guy play, but it just really baffles me. Like, why? Is it just because, we think, we can actually sell Petrovic on for a bit of profit now, let's get rid of him and then sign someone else? Like, it doesn't make any sense in my opinion. I'm not gonna say stay away just because, as I said, he could be a good player. I'll just put him in there. It just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. Like, if we're going to sign a goalkeeper, sign somebody who's going to be number 1. Why are we signing a number 2? We already have Petrovic. There's no need. Okay. Next up, we have Jake O'Brien, or Jack O'Brien. I can't remember which one it is. We'll call him O'Brien. So O'Brien, this is Brentford. Brentford, again, another club who haven't really had too many links right now. 2 players, but O'Brien from Lyon has been linked, so he's a centre back. He's fairly young, playing for Lyon. He's actually Irish as well. Quite rare you see an Irishman playing in Ligue 1, but yeah, he's actually done pretty decent there. And many Premier League clubs have been linked with a move for O'Brien. Brentford, I think that makes sense. I think they definitely need a couple centre backs, with a lot of their centre backs aging now. You know, Ben Mee, Ethan Pinnock. These guys are getting older. Nathan Collins was not the best last season as well, so I think O'Brien could come in. I don't know too much on the player, but I don't think it'll cost too much. If they can get him for under 15 million, that's a solid signing. I'm going to put him in average. Alright, next up, sorry, that image is so small, I can't actually see who that is. Who is that? Hold on, I put it in my notes, all the signings. I'm just gonna have to get the VAR on this one, real quick. Yeah, the image is so small. Okay, well, I've just realised this is definitely not him, but I've realised that I added a player here or I was meant to add a player here, and they're not on this list now, and that's Sammy Smosticks for Ipswich. I don't know what happened to his picture, but it's not here. This is definitely not him. So I'm just gonna save this as Sammy Smosticks. Actually, there was another player as well who I was meant to as well, but yeah, we'll just save it as Sammy Smosticks for now. So Sammy Smosticks to Ipswich. Now they put in a bid of like, I think it's like 12 mil that got rejected from Blackburn. Smosticks was the championship top goal scorer last season. Got, I think, 27 goals or something like that. It was a crazy record for Blackburn last season. I think it's a decent move in terms of kind of similar to Ben Brereton, where potentially could bang in the Premier League. If he doesn't, you know you have someone who, if you go down in the championship, is a proven goal scorer there, right? So yeah, I think the move makes sense. They have only just signed Liam Delappo for like 20 mil as well, so I don't know if they need another striker. I also don't know, this is like the first ever season that Smosticks has performed really, really well. So could it be a case of him being like a one-hit wonder, one-season wonder? Maybe. So it's a little bit of a gamble. I'm not sure if he's ready for the Prem. I'm going to say it's an average signing, though. I'll say it's an average signing. Alright, let's move on to him. Diego Gomez to Brighton. So, Brighton look like they're going to signed Diego Gomez from Inter Miami. I think he's like 21 or something, midfielder from Paraguay, playing for Inter Miami with Lionel Messi. Interesting signing. We'll see how he does straight out of MLS. But what I will say is, I've seen a couple bits of him actually. He looks really, really good. He played really, really well in the MLS. But of course, it's the MLS. You don't know how that's going to translate into Europe. But it's a relatively low fee. He's fairly young. Of course, with Brereton as well, their scouting, their recruitment is always very, very good. So I kind of back them that they've seen something in him which they definitely like. I think I'm going to say average. Solid signing. I don't think he's going to come in and come straight into the first team and tear everything up. But maybe in a couple of years' time, this is one where you'll really start to see him flourish. Oh wait, I think I know who this is now. I'm pretty sure this is Reiss Nelson. If it's not, I'm just gonna say it is because that was my pick for Leicester. So Leicester look like they're going to sign Reiss Nelson. Apparently they're in talks for like a loan with an obligation to buy. Good signing. Good signing. Really, really like this deal. Yeah. Reiss Nelson is a decent player. Now, I'm not sure what the fee is. That's why, again, I'm not going to say get it done. I'm not sure what the fee is. If the fee is anything above 20 mil, then I would be like, okay, that's a bit large for somebody who hasn't really played too much football in the last few years. But Reiss Nelson is a solid player, similar to Smith. I just really want to see him play some football and see how he does. Leicester definitely need a right winger. Matheus Sula was their option, their first choice option, but they couldn't get him, so yeah, that is Reiss Nelson instead. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, I've just realised actually this is not Reiss Nelson. I know exactly who this is. I don't know why half my photos which I uploaded just disappeared, but that's well. But Reiss Nelson as good signing. This is actually Ismaila Sarr for Crystal Palace. So Crystal Palace look like they're going to be signing Ismaila Sarr. Yeah, that deal looks pretty much agreed from Marseille. And it's a pretty decent fee. I'm saying get it done. I really, really like that deal. Ismaila Sarr, you remember from his time at Watford, was absolutely superb. In the Premier League, he's proven. He's done it in the Premier League before, was really, really good for Watford. Did it in the Championship as well for Watford. Now, I'm not sure how he did at Marseille. I'm assuming if they're selling him, not amazing, right? But he's a talented player. They obviously sold Elise, so they need another winger. Ismaila Sarr, they can get that Watford version of Sarr, then they have a really, really good player on their hands, and I think the fee is fairly low as well, like 15 mil or something. So it's fairly low risk. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. Sell him for like 5-7 mil and take a little bit of a hit on him is not too much. So yeah, I really like this deal. I really, really like that Ismaila Sarr deal. Okay, next up we have Spurs with Jacob Ramsey. So it looks like Spurs and Villa are sort of in this swap deal kind of thing. They're negotiating right now between Jacob Ramsey and Giovanni Lo Celso, going the other way. I think a bit of cash. Now for Spurs, I think it's a good signing. I like this signing a lot. I think it's a position they definitely need. They need somebody who can go in those forward areas, particularly as the number 10 as a backup to Maddison, because as we know, Maddison, this guy has stick legs. He gets injured every single season without failure. So they're gonna need somebody who can replace Maddison, because that was a big problem last season when Maddison went injured and came back and wasn't maybe as good. Spurs, coincidentally, fell off as well in terms of their form. So having somebody there like Jacob Ramsey who can definitely back up Maddison in a very good way is good. He can also play on the left as well. Very versatile forward. is a really, really good player as well. Last season had some injuries for Villa as well, so we didn't get to see the best of him, but he has a lot of potential. He's fairly young, could become a really good player. I like this signing a lot, as providing it's not too expensive. I think it's a good deal. Okay, and finally we have Arsenal. Actually, that's not finally. Let me get Ismail Assar again, because I realise there's one other player. I remember they cut my thing from it, I don't know why, but Newcastle. So the one for Newcastle was Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been linked a little bit to Newcastle. Apparently they put in a bid for him, but that was rejected from Everton. Now for me, stay away if you're Newcastle for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Stay away, because that quite frankly doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense for me. I understand that they might need another backup striker because, Callum Wilson is aging, he's injury prone, but Calvert-Lewin is injury prone. You're going to add another injury prone striker. Yuri Isak, who's a bit injury prone. Calvert-Lewin was pretty bad last season, has been pretty bad the last couple of seasons, really. He's only had one fantastic season in his career for Everton in the Premier League. He's a useful player. If you can get him to his best, you've got a good striker there, but he's not really firing. He's injury prone. And the fee as well, particularly if he was like 20 mil, I'd be like, okay, maybe cool. Everton want like 30 mil for him. 30 plus mil. No way, do not do that. If you're Newcastle, stay away from that. You could definitely sign somebody for a lot cheaper as a backup striker who you can actually rely on to be fit as well, so don't do that. Anyway, let's move Ismail Assar back to kill them. Okay then, Arsenal. Miguel Merino has been linked to Arsenal from Real Sociedad, the Euro winner with Spain. And I'm going to say good signing. Miguel Merino, good player. Now what I will say is, I thought that Zubimendi would be the better fit if I was going to sign a Real Sociedad midfielder for Arsenal. Zubimendi would be the guy. He's kind of like a DM. You saw him at the Euros in the final game on for Rodri, really, really good. I feel like he would be a more natural fit than Miguel Merino. But that being said, Merino is a very good player. Good age, box to box sort of guy. We've seen him at the Euros as well. He's got an eye for goal. I think Merino's a solid player. Depending on the fee, I think it's a good signing. If you're paying anything more than 50 mil, I would be a bit like, okay, that's a little bit excessive. But I like that signing a lot. Now let me just count this up, make sure I haven't missed anybody, because and they've got rid of anyone. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, plus Calvert-Lewin 18, plus Sammy Smostik 19, and plus, there was another plus, Reece Nelson 20. Okay, great. So there we go. That is me ranking every transfer rumour. Apologies that some of those players got cut off from the tier list, but those were the rankings anyway. Got to everyone in the end. Luckily, I did realise. And anyways, if you have enjoyed this video, let me know. Let me know your thoughts on all of the